Hello and welcome to Pro Wrestling 101. I am your host, JP John Poz from the Two Man Power Trip of Wrestling. And of course, joining me today is none other than the hacker himself, the player himself, Ben Hamin from the Hamin Media Group. Ben, how you doing today, sir?
JP, good to be back with you, and I'm going to knock you out. Hamin said, knock you out, infidels. We're back here, two-man power trip, and ready to throw some big strikes today, so sit back, and you better sell away, infidels, because I'm coming in hot. Y'all.
Good stuff, Ben. I love it. And of course, today, Pro Wrestling 101, we want to talk a little bit about punching. And it's almost seems like a lost art. I don't know when that happened or why that happened, but it seems like we went away from the punching and we went to the elbows and the forearm strikes. And I guess maybe stolen from a little bit of the Japanese style. But have you noticed that with today's wrestling, there's been a lot less punching or a lot less good punchers?
Well, there's reasons to punch too, and definitely a lot less good punch, a lot less good at everything. Hey, I can do a 450, but I can't throw a simple strike. I'm in the dark order. Good for you. Like those terrible moments on camera
Oh my
where
God, yeah.
you don't even have the fundamental basics of being able to do this shit and knowing how to strike in wrestling versus knowing how to strike in real life are two very different things. And we can cover all that and why you strike. But absolutely, again, you can go to prowrestlingtees.com/Ben Hamin and get the Hamin Dojo shirt, Japanese wrong style. And that's a big reason why these indie goofs of the last 10 years have gone to elbows. They act like they can throw a knee with a flying slap on their thigh and everything's V-trigger this and Daniel Bryan comeback that bullshit. Neither of those guys are hitting knees on people like a real Muay Thai fighter. You want a real Muay Thai fighter? That's Killer Cross. That's Bobby Fish. Go watch their knee strikes and see the difference and how you should really hook a guy in a cravat or have him, grappled in the corner in a clinch and you come down and bring your knee up and hit the outside of your own arm, but you throw it in a way that looks believable. Am I getting broken up here? I thought the spectrum flaked on for a minute. But what they're doing with these open knee strikes where they blatantly slap their thigh, like and I'll say this too before we get into strikes, there is an art to tagging yourself to make a sound. I've seen Joey Mercury do it, and you can never even see where he does it. Usually, and it depends on the strike. Sure, Sean kind of started it with a super kick thigh slap, but there's the inside rib slap and there's the upper shoulder punches. So if I'm going to punch at you and I come at you fist wise and I bring my other arm in to check myself and make a quick on a cane strike or whatever it is,
Beautiful Bobby, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful Bobby strike, absolutely. They should never see it. They should only hear it. That's part of the magic of what we do, of the illusionist, of how quick it is. The misdirection that my fist is here, you're not watching this other arm that's going to make a check noise on my own body, right? And it used to be when guys would put matches together, so the way the vernacular in wrestling, and maybe it's always been like this and ever changing and devolving or evolving, but there was like this, and then good brother hits bad brother, and then big brother comes, like, I hated that shit. And then there was like, where they go through and they check and everything, and then we'll do this and that. So when we used to walk through it originally, it was just like, you wouldn't have to say nothing, duck one, come back elbow, hit the ropes. This meant take a bump, you know what I mean? Like, so to watch them go through everything now, every strike is brutal. And it just shows, it shows they care about their match and what they want to do. But by the time you're calling strikes, what you had planned is out of your mind. You know what I mean? And so I don't want to go too far off here because there's a couple things to break down. All right. So in wrestling is a competition for dominance. And, if it's not a big storyline of like, we're 6 months into a red hot blood feud for whatever reason, and we come out striking because we hate each other and they know it, that's different. That's part of the story. But in a straight up wrestling match, any babyface who comes out and strikes is an idiot unless they've been, well, not an idiot, but if they've been struck first, then they can retaliate. If they're using strikes in their opening package and sequence, they don't know what they're doing because heels need heat. And to get heat, you have to break the rules. Striking is against the rules. This is a wrestling match. Otherwise, you'd see guys in fucking NCAA and in the Olympics go out there and punch a dude in his fucking face, right? We're supposed to be emulating this from Gotch times or what have you. The person who should throw the first strike should always be the heel. If this is, like I said, if we're not down the road in a long storyline where it's red hot and we come out fighting from the back, beating the shit out of each other, it's starting hot. The heel needs to throw a strike because he's been out wrestled, or she has been out wrestled by the babyface. Usually we'll lock up. I can show dominance on a guy and push him back in the corner who I might have 6 inches and 60 pounds on, right? And that shows wrestling, and I'm gloating. Look how big I am. I'm badass. What does he need to do? He needs to outquick me. And he needs the wrestling story we're telling needs to show that. So I go back in for a lockup again, go under, waist lock. I come around to fucking do whatever, get him up in Death Valley Driver. If he flips out on his legs, gives me a drop toe hold, I take a face bump. What the hell? And roll out. He hasn't struck me once yet. So when we come back in to lock up again, I'm going to strike him. I'm going to bait him like I'm locked up, and I blast him. Oh, he sells away. Now I've cheated. And the ref goes, come on, no closed fist. What are you doing? What are you doing? This is a wrestling match. Shut up, moron. You know what I mean? Now I got him on the cell to the corner, and I can do whatever I want. I can do a wrestling move out of there, big Beal, hip toss, da-da-da-da. But I struck first, and now I have heat because, hey, that's not cool. We were trying to do competition, So the heel striking first is a very basic early part of a regular match principle. And if you're a baby face and you come out and you start throwing hands without it being incited by the heel, you're an amateur in this shit. You don't understand what the most basic premise of a heel striking and getting heat is. Okay. So, and even if it's your gimmick, then change it. If you're a baby face who wants to come out and do Muay Thai out of the gate, because you're killing the psychology of wrestling and what we're trying to do to take the audience on a ride. You're being self-egregious and getting your own shit in right away. So then the bigger part of that in strikes, because most people have been in one fight in their life and they know what it's like to get hit in the face and to sell away baby faces. A strike is important, and not only in breaking the rules, but because wrestling only hurts when you get into a hold or a submission. You know what I mean? The rest of the time it's a test of strength and leverage and dominance. Nothing really that painful. But a strike is a blast and your body's reacting to it. So please react, because if you stand there in the pocket and start throwing punches back and forth like boxers, well, now we're boxing, and that's a different thing. And now I got to slide, dip, dive. And a wrestling cadence and timing is so much slower, because I should hit you once and you should sell away. This weekend, NWA 73, great shows. And Power was great too. But, dude, Chris Masters versus James Storm, 2 20-year pros in this shit. Dude, when you watch James Storm take one strike, sell away, holding his face, gets time to react. You see these guys in the corner, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and the other guy throws back 1, 2, 3, so nobody's affected by punches in your match. Taking a strike is important, but selling away and taking those 2 to 3 seconds is what makes the difference between a strike in pro wrestling, a phony one, to the difference between how a boxer would really do it and move out of the way while another boxer's pursuing them. I'm going to keep going, but I want to let you get in here too with anything you got.
I'm just curious, even before all that, in your mind, and kind of almost like when you're becoming a wrestler, it's like, how do you learn how to punch? How do you teach yourself how to punch? Do you learn
great.
Do you
Great.
learn that in wrestling school? Like, I'm just curious because, Flair was saying, like, you put a towel out and you pretend to punch the towel, but you only want to graze it, but it's going to look like, you're nailing. Like, how do you learn how to punch?
Right. We all don't have rings at our house to do bumps and shit in, but there's 100 things that we can practice on our own. Promos and punches are two big Rip Rogers. You're a lazy bastard. Don't act like you're at home. You're watching TV. You're watching Netflix. Turn that shit off. You want to be a pro in this shit. Go throw it's 10,000 hour rule. You got to throw it 10,000 times to fucking where it becomes just hardwired into your brain. So absolutely, Ric Flair on the towel is a good one. You go up in your shower curtain. How close can you punch and just barely graze your shower curtain within 1/8 of an inch? And it's going to look real, right? And a straight punch, a straight jab, if you're watching me now, isn't as exciting, as it is in boxing. But Dusty would go jab, jab, jab. Whoa, big one, right? It helps with the rhythm. So the jab is super important in setting things up for wah, 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 whoa, whatever it is, spinning, black mask, whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? That rhythm to set things up. So having a good jab is great. And also when you're throwing it on a guy, you either want to be very close and not touching them at all, or how I like to work is you're going to hit him not in his face because they should be able to sell it with their head that you did get hit, but you want to aim for the neck and not drill a guy, please. Just if you're going to make contact at all, maybe collarbone, someplace close in there. But Rip would have us do it right there in the neck, just a little slap, right? Like that tap. So you are making a little contact and the guy's not getting his jaw rocked. Hopefully, you're both in the right spot. And then the big right hand, boom. Okay. It comes over the top, but it's on that rhythm of wah, wah, wah. Oh, boom. And even if you back him up into the corner and he feeds out and you give him one, he takes the flare flopper coming off the ropes and, you give him that one. That's where the bump is, on that, or the sell away to the ropes. And oh my God, I'm on the second. And then the heel comes and gets heat on me. But you can practice promos at home. You can go in your bathroom. You can take a shoestring and hang a fucking Kleenex up and try and not move the Kleenex at all. You know what I mean? How close can you get? When you've done that 10,000 times each arm, you're going to have it pretty close to wired and safe to what's going on. Now, there's also different calls, like Rip would call it Popeye, where I go 1, 2 upstairs, body downstairs. Give you the Haku throat thrust, give it to you downstairs as well. So you're up, you're down. Remember we talked working layers, how to break a guy down, right?
Yep.
Also in boxing, you throw upstairs, 1, 2, guy's going to put his hands up, all the bodies down there, bomb, bomb. Or that's where you throw your side kick, Muay Thai kick, because you got to get your shit in the corner, and hopefully he sells away that you took it. But punches are so essential because of what people are used to, especially UFC fighting and ground and pound and that type of shit. But that doesn't mean a guy taking them can't cover up either. Like, if somebody's getting peppered in the corner, you're not going to stand there and let them punch you in the jaw. Get your fucking hands up. And you're not going to go into a boxing match with your hands down here like you would for wrestling or down at your side, because you're going to get smashed. So take from great boxers, but you got to slow it way down, right? Because the crowd really needs to ingest something. When they ingest it, it's usually like 6 to 8 seconds after it happens. So if I threw 2 beautiful punches, but there's 5, 6, 7, 8 coming right on the tail end of that, they forgot about those already. 1 punch means more than 8 if a guy sells it the right way. So
yeah. Oh yeah.
But you got to make sure they're safe. And the only way to do that is with drills like that, hitting a towel, putting up a string with a washer on it and punching both sides and ducking under and learning how to slip and all that kind of stuff, man. Like, that's your job. And you can do that to make the muscle memory. I practice, I go to precision striking. And if this is for anybody who wants to work out and loves boxing, or Fight Sports. I put this guy over. No endorsement here. I don't even know him, but Precision Striking on YouTube. This guy's a phenomenal boxing coach. He has great workouts. And then he takes like Canelo, Tyson, Floyd Mayweather Sr., Triple G, and then does like, he has these pad workouts. So he's got pads up and he puts in the cell. He puts in the sound of you hitting the pads and it tricks your mind. And they're 40-minute to an hour workout. Dude, I'm destroyed at the end of one. Some I can't even make it all the way through. And now my arm, every day I'm practicing that. Am I getting more limber? Do I look like more of a fighter? Do I know how to dip, dodge, and dive? If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a punch, all that kind of shit. So you really have to practice the real shit to be able to know how to do it phony wise. And I will say, practicing real stuff for too long while I was off did mess up my phony punches a little bit. So I
knew it would.
Yeah, but my precision is much where I want to land them, and when I throw them, they look really good. But I had to slow myself down because during pandemic I was just throwing real hands all the time. You know what I mean? So I'm down there, but like there's so many. You want to talk great punchers? Jerry the King Lawler, Terry Funk, probably my favorite puncher. You know what I mean? Dusty has a great punch too. Like when he kind of curl in and throw that jab, real nice. He's protecting his chin. He's got his chin tucked. That's paying. Like those guys grew up on Muhammad Ali, bro. So like that was the biggest sports entertainer of their time. So their punches are tight, probably because they loved that so much coming up, and those are three guys I would definitely put over. Bret Hart's got a phenomenal kick punch combo. Steve Austin, a phenomenal puncher as well, man. So those are some of the guys that I've tried to take from, and I'm trying to stop doing as much Terry. And I hate to say this, Terry Funk stumbling and bumbling. I love it, but I don't I do it too much in my matches now, and that's not for me. I need to be much more vicious and like stronger. I want to sell too much for guys that I shouldn't be selling for, but
Right.
whatever, that's pro wrestling. But that is such an essential basic that you can practice on your own. So then when I see guys on TV who got Dustin Rhodes in a headlock who are lucky to even be in the locker room with him, and they got him down here and they're missing, they're just rifling punches and missing and punching the mat, bro. Like that shit, I go, that turns my stomach, man. Like, how do these guys, it's obviously buddy spots, friends of friends, and the dudes who should be on Ring Crew still, and probably are, that end up exposing the business, making your company look rotten, and they're just playing wrestler with a guy who's a fucking legend. That shit hurts my brain to watch, man.
So you mentioned all those great guys. Disco Inferno also threw a great
punch. Disco's a great puncher. Absolutely. Yep. Disco is.
Jarrett, The Rock, Scott Hall. Hall had good ones.
Yep. Yeah. Scott Hall's a great guy who did throat thrust and would do the side slap check, and you'd never see it.
Yep. So with that, it's like all those guys have great punches, right? But they're all so different. And Ric Flair had a great one too. But what's the reasoning? It's whatever you're comfortable with. That's what you have to do, not copy somebody else necessarily.
Well, who's worked for you before and throw real punches, practice them, see what boxers for me, Mike Tyson's hard when I work that because he's always left and right, and he's a short, compact guy.
Yeah.
I'm tall. When I get done with the Tyson thing, my fucking abs are killing me, or where my abs should be. I'm like, oh,
he's about what, 5'11", probably.
Yeah, for 2 days, and he's built like a tank like that. So if that's what's good for you, then so be it. You should be doing body blows and uppercuts and things along those lines. If you're a guy, if you're Shanky, I'd hit a guy with a fucking jab from 4 blocks away. That guy's got an arm that's fucking, he can punch you across the ring. So what is going to be best for you for your body size? Look at boxers. If you're an athletic dude that is kind of a Marche Rocket, to me, he reminds me of Roy Jones Jr. You know what I mean? Kind of could do it all around whatever you want to do. So, whereas if you're just a big super heavyweight, then your punch should be a one and done. You know what I mean? As far as that goes, to set things up, heart punch, big knockout, big show punch, whatever it is. But you better make sure you can deliver it safely and it looks good when and time for it to be delivered. So, but yeah, I would definitely not try and do somebody's work. Good artists create, great artists steal and make it their own. Who inspires you? What feels comfortable for you? And it really is about repetition of doing that in the bathroom I gotta do this to get better. So when it's time to go and throw that kind of stuff, it's safe, it looks real, it's fast enough, and people are going to see the difference between a true pro and somebody who's got business exposing bad punches. Like I've been on shows where like smart marks will be in the crowd and like guys will try and throw all these kicks and punches. They'll be like, that missed. They'll call your shit out, bro.
Yep.
Because you fucking suck. Like your mind might be there and putting the match together, but if you can't execute it, of what it is, and once in a while you get tattooed in the top of the head or something along those lines. Man, I'll tell you, I don't know if I told this on here before or not, but when I worked Muhammad Hassan in Immortal and Dynasty, which was great experiences for me, kind of the torch pass, and he would come out as the Arab guy too and be the baby face because he's in such great shape. And I was in shit shape at that time, 300 pounds. I look back at those pictures, I'm like, fuck, I wanted that for so long, but I was so like not at my peak, even though the matches were good and they put him over good enough. But dude, he came out of the gate the very first time we fought red hot, and he hadn't thrown a punch in 10 years, bro. He fucking drilled me in the jaw instantly, like flash of light, birds are spinning, I'm backing up, then boom, 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 3 more fucking big overhand rights right in the face, bro, not on the neck.
Yep.
I mean, he was trained by Rip too, but he hasn't done this. So my biggest thing there is you got to keep your instrument, tuned. If you played, you might, you never know if, you ride a bike, you can do it forever, right? But at the same time, if you haven't picked up a violin and you haven't played in 10 years, you might know a little bit still, but you got to practice that bitch. And especially in what we do, making it safe. He hit me 5 times in the face, hard as shit. And we're in the corner. He goes, I'm sorry. And then he hit me again. And I was like, fuck this. I battled back a little bit with some chest punches. And then I give him the old Tongan spike, and I stuck it in his neck about 1.5 inches, bro. And I drew blood on him. I felt bad. But I had to, just to calm him down and slow him down, bro. I was like, oh, and like, this guy is a brick shit house, man. He looks better than when he was on TV. And he was so fired up. He just peppered me in the side of the head and the jaw, man. Like I got hit with five unanswered fucking overhand rights, full punch. And, I got no animosity towards him. And he's a great guy, Mark Capani, but I had to slow him down with something shoot in return. So if somebody's hitting on you with, a heel and they're not safe, you got every right to recede them in that moment, because chances are it's not that you got heat. It's just that they haven't practiced punches. Their adrenaline is way up. You know what I mean? I've hit a guy before and I'll go, oh, fuck, sorry. And then I come back with something super light afterwards to show him that I got my range, bro. You can trust me. But Muhammad Hassan got in that ass, bro. He fucking lit me up. But other things in punches, trying to think, man, of why they're so important in the fight of kind of that third act of when the baby face can retaliate. Yep. And it's time for him to stop wrestling and being like, enough's enough after the baby faces or the heels cheated so many times. That's when the crowd wants the baby to stop. Like, all right, he's tried to drag us into the dark side. Now, okay, let's play dark side. You know what I mean? And that just means punching back and doing that kind of shit. So when that happens, that's a great comeback for the baby face on the heel to get him rocking and rolling and get the crowd, come on, yeah, behind them, after they've taken so much bullshit or been cheated on during the match a couple times.
With punching, like you were saying, all these guys that are great punchers, pretty much older guys or retired guys or guys that don't wrestle anymore. There's not any more good punchers. Have you noticed that? I mean, nobody's a good puncher anymore, really. I can't think of
I'm
anybody.
pretty good. GGP's got a great punch. One of the best punchers that I've ever seen, two of them actually, is our own Dr. Ted. He has a real redneck one where he bends out and he flips the jab. But Jamin Olivencia is probably one of the best, even though he's not really in competition anymore. I used to love watching Jamin's punches, man. Looked so real. He'd snap them, and it wasn't like left out there as like a phony. Whoa, got him, Yeah. And even taking him, he looks real. But again, those are guys who are, lesser known regional indie guys who should have had a shot but haven't. But I'm just trying to think now whose punches look even remotely real. Bobby Lashley, maybe. But he's a power wrestler more than he is a puncher. Jesus, who does have good punches? I'm kind of not with it off the top of my head to be like, yeah, that guy's punches are really good. Moxley's got a decent punch.
Yeah, it's kind of lazy though.
It is kind of lazy. Yeah. It is kind of lazy. You're right. Never mind. Yeah, dude. It's the lost. The fundamentals are the lost art already because of the wrong style dojo. Wing Ice East, who's teaching them how to do shitty microphone shots and pantomime instead of going, all right, 1,000 punches, let's go. 1, 2, count them off. 3, 4. What happened to that fucking Bruce Lee Enter the Dragon where there's 100 guys outside doing this for 4 hours a day, right? They act like their dojos are so over, and they've got people who sell elbow strikes and can't throw a fucking decent punch. So how over is it? I'm really, like I said, I'm not trying to insult cultures and whatnot, but I'm really over selling for people who are like, well, that's just the way it's done in Japan and Mexico. Oh, it's done the wrong way then. So America shouldn't adopt the wrong way to be like, oh, we cultural appropriation. We want to pay respect. No, we need to go, your way is sucking and exposing the business. Get your fucking fundamentals correct or get the fuck out of the ring. Because I'm not going to put you over just because you're from an island country that seems exotic. That's just ruining the fucking art form, bro. And if you can, what I hear no other argument that would make me change my mind coming from that camp, aside from you just got to respect their tradition. No. Your shit is a business exposing bad. Whoever started that tradition sucked at this, and you want to pay respect to him. I get it, but I would pay respect to him by advancing the art form and filling in the holes that they put in the game, not making that hole broader, wider, and more fucking shitty. And everyone going, I want to work in New Japan, so I'll do the same dumb shit that they're doing. Nope. I'll go over there and fucking have the best punches on the roster, and I'll sell the right way and expose them as being cartoon anime marks for themselves.
Have you ever heard the excuse from these guys saying technically punches kayfabe wise are illegal, so I'm using the elbow strikes and the forearm strikes because the punches are illegal? Have you ever heard that from these guys? Because I've heard that excuse a time or two, which is kind of a weird one.
They're stupid too then, because they don't understand that a strike is not wrestling, and
Right.
that not wrestling is breaking the rules, and not breaking the rules is what a heel does. So a heel can elbow strike, but if a babyface does that, that's just some self-serving Jean-Claude Van Damme blood sport shit that they want to fucking get in front of their mom, girlfriend, and the fucking 3 dudes that they played Call of Duty with. Like, fuck that and fuck you if that's what your idea of the logic is, because that's just an excuse for you to be able to do that. If you want to do that, then be a heel. But I like when the crowd cheers me. Well, guess what? I don't care what you like. We're here to make a whole entire experience and show. And baby faces don't go out and do that until the 3rd act after it's been done on them as retaliation. There is no other excuse. There is no viable thing that's going to go, you know what? You're right. It is that. And because it's not punches. And we'll see how well your psychology works out because of it, because it's been tried and tested. And I'm not telling you lies because I want to angle the industry in a certain way. Not you, John, but babyface is doing that. Their matches never get over to how they should. You are killing the psychology out of the gate, and for your own Barry Horowitz edification, bro. And they know it, but they would never admit it because their egos are too fragile or too big to do that. And at the end of the day, when veterans see that, you're disrespecting the game. And that I love this business. Well, if you loved it so much, you do it the right motherfucking way instead of making some lame ass excuse just so you can get your shit in to pretend that you're over. Because you ain't over, bro. You're really not. And no punch or elbow is going to get you over. Psychology and people behind you and the comeback and the fire up. And when it's time for you to elbow, that gets you over out of the gate because you want to do your little fucking Muay Thai shit to show your Lance Storm, Rob Van Dam standoff. Nope. You're a mark for yourself, and you don't understand the fundamentals of this shit. And I'll argue with that with any 15-year veteran, because if you're past 15 years, then you understand that. If you're in this new school and you don't, you're just making excuses. And I'm glad to listen to your excuses and then pick apart why that's a self-serving lie and not serving the art or the story or the people who bought the tickets.
Yeah, true.
I get hot about these phrases like the business has just evolved. Like, no.
It's funny. You were mentioning the shirt before, and you're saying that kind of stuff, and I was just thinking another great shirt you have on your Pro Wrestling Tees. What was it? Apologize.
Tweet, apologize, dive.
Tweet, apologize, dive, repeat.
So
Which is so funny because literally the other day that same exact thing happened. Guy tweeted, then he had to apologize because I don't even know why.
I'll run it down. Yeah. I'll stooge everybody off here.
Yeah, and that was bad.
Yeah. So first thing is what is it? Eat, sleep, train, repeat. That was Brock's shirt, right?
Eat,
sleep, suplex, repeat.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Whatever the fuck. So then Rip came out with ... dive. Like, do you remember when him and Randy Orton were going back and forth with that to like rib all these guys who were just doing dives because they're the assholes that I just talked about, who only serve themselves and don't understand that it's not time for you to shine. It's time for you to take heat. But no, I got to get my dive in. Oh, sure you do. And kill our whole flow of the match. We got to get your fucking dive in. So that became like an underground thing of ... dive. So then I see cancel culture rearing its head in the early days, and these people tweeting things in character that I'm been doing for 8 years before I, had to develop this CIA front character that you hear now. Like to the of what's going on, and then they're apologizing. So I was like, fuck, I'm taking all these. Tweet, apologize, ... dive, repeat. Yesterday, 2 days ago, Buddy Murphy's 90 days is up, and he puts out a fucking free at last thing with some stock image of like somebody with handcuffs with chains breaking. Here comes cancel culture. How dare you compare your time in WWE to slavery and da-da-da-da-da. Meanwhile, that is probably a pretty fucking fair comparison. Right away, and this guy's on so much B12 in Florida water, dude. His fucking vein, you can see his goddamn pulse in his veins sitting on top of it. So it's like, okay, the guy who didn't want to kiss, and he felt uncomfortable kissing Aaliyah and never really cut a good promo and never really got over even his Seth's bag, man. And that whole thing with Mysterios, which is your huge opportunity to shine, was half-ass and lackluster. Now I'm going to believe in, like, he's the fucking guy to put all our money on. I mean, no disrespect. He looks fucking phenomenal and has worked his ass off to get to where he is. I haven't seen character one from him. I still see elementary school level character stuff. Looks great. Can do tons of spots. Absolutely. Without the rest of it, you ain't going nowhere. No one's going to believe in you. So what's he do? puts up a fucking tweet apology. I'm sorry that the image I put out earlier, was offensive. And then he puts like birds with a cage door open flying out. Like,
Yeah. Yep.
we're tough fucking men. And that is pussy 101. Cave into fucking cancel culture and this shit. He could have come in and he tried to come in as like free and emancipated. And in 2 hours, they made him pirouette and dance, bro. That's how fucked the wrestling bubble is, where these guys come from. Instead of, nah, I'm reinventing myself. I'm sticking by my guns. If some stock Getty image of chains being broken, fucking you, so fucking be it. But then to come back with the apologize, that's why that shirt exists. Everything I do is a fuck you to some power structure in some anti-authority, or shining a light on people who think they're over and then using their own hypocrisy against them. And it wasn't just for him. That shirt's been out for 3 years because of incident after it. And what do? I condition my smart followers, you two-man power trip listeners, you Hamin media group members, you Russo brand loyalists, 2CW diehards, because I know the fragile children that are in this business that act like they're fucking men and women up here who run the show, that will turn around and dance because they're so worried about a social media vanity metric, instead of waiting for them to come and the spotlight's on you and you go, fuck you guys, I do what the fuck I want. You don't tell me shit. Nope. What do? Oh, I'm sorry, everybody. I'm not really as tough and I'm woke just like you. Please don't cancel me, because we're done here. You know, his new whole fucking gimmick should be the pussy who folds, and make fun of cancel culture. So that shirt sits out there because I know it will happen again and again and again and again with a variety of different wrestlers who all fucking fold. And I don't have to do anything at that point. My own followers will engage, and I get tweet, apologize, ... dive, repeat over and over, because they know the joke. And the joke is evergreen, because I'm not trying to Horowitz, but that's the level I bring my comedy to see Brock was over, Rip and Randy had this fucking thing, and this social media shit is out of control. I sandwich them together, come up with 4 simple words that I know will echo for the next decade and can be easily used. And when that level of over wrestler makes that mistake time and time again in public, me and the underground doing the fuck yous, that my fan base is more endeared to me because of it, because I have the vision and I speak openly, and my integrity is not really compromised, whether that means me being blackballed or what have you. 44 fucking years old. You think I'm going to be WWE champ? You really think I give a flying fuck, bro?
Right,
I've done my fucking time. So, and this isn't a slam on Buddy Murphy personally. I don't know the guy. There's money written on him, but I'm gonna say what things really are, because if I don't, then my fans, your fans, are gonna see right through that, bro. Like I've got the respect, because I do talk openly and honestly about my opinions, and opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one, but their actions reinforce what I've said over and over again. So, it's Twitter at the end of the day. And if you're butthurt over it, go fucking chop some wood and carry water and see what it feels like to be a real man. Go work a DPW crew for a weekend, scraping dead deer and skunks off the fucking side of the road. Then we'll worry about tweets later, bro. But tweet, apologize, dive, repeat, available now at prowrestlingtees.com/Ben for the price of 1984.
Nice. And that's a perfect segue here to the plugs. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at 2Man Power Trip. Check out the website, tmptempire.com. And of course, patreon.com/tmptempire. Ben, what else you got besides your Pro Wrestling Tees store?
Well, probably Buddy Murphy will get booked in Immortal and punch me in the face for real after this. So
yeah, sounds like a good idea.
Be a good time for everybody. But yeah, man, Cameo's hitting, cameo.com/Ben. You want to tell your boss off at work that wants you to get the jab, I'll be happy to take a jab back at him. verbally. And yeah, anything you got going down, anniversaries, birthdays, I'll cancel them all. Just cameo.com/Ben. I mean, we're getting the relaunch with Russo brand, Hamin Media Group, Relm Style done. Hopefully by the time this airs, we'll be back on. So I want to say thank you to everybody who's hung with us at patreon.com/Hamin Media Group and all the HMG Facebook stuff. Give us a follow and interact with us. I'm sure if you guys are listening to this, you already are, but open invitation to talk about that real wrestling shit. If you like this, I mean, that's what my whole community is built on, man. But been having a great time working with you, JP, here on TMPT. So I want to say thank you. But 9/11, obviously the 20-year celebration of Hamin Victory Summer continues. I'll be in the Donovan Post in Buffalo, New York. Me, GGP, will be in the house for that one. And then on 9/18, like you said earlier, Ryback and Let Me Holla at You Play a Teddy Long coming to Canajahari in New York on the 18th. And I'll be taking on that AEW Moron Rick Recon with my man Blazer Ram having my back. So big shows there. And then the 2CW reunions at the end of the month are the September 30th and October 1st. It's going to be, and AEW is going to be in the house. There's going to be so many surprises right now. Rich Swann, Sammy Callahan, Eddie Edwards, Davey Richards, Kylie Ray. One night of Hacksaw, I made him quit the other night. Unfortunately, they just had to replace the Godfather. But because he's doing the WWE toy show there, the Fines thing. But they're bringing in Enzo and Cass. So, there's going to be so many more surprises, huge nights for 2CW. So four shows coming up in the next month to see Hacker Hamin, and at 49 face slaps right now. Who's going to be number 50, Poz? We'll find out.
Nice. I like that. That's pretty cool. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you right back here next week for a little Pro Wrestling 101. See you next week, folks.